Hey guys, welcome back. This module I'm really excited for because I think this is the most important thing I've ever recorded. This video is for you if you ever are wondering why you don't have the results that you want yet as an entrepreneur, and especially starting out. I wish that I knew this, and I've spent thousands of dollars on coaching, read dozens of books on the subject, and finally found a formula that works for me. So I'm excited to do this video today because I am releasing this from a new training that we're putting together for the Product Launchpad to really focus on your growth as an entrepreneur, to make sure that you are set up to conquer and dominate the physical product space with the brand that you are either launching or scaling right now. So let's get into it. Hey guys, welcome to this module in the Mindset Framework week. This module is going to bring kind of everything together into a practical guide of how to manage your emotions as an entrepreneur. It took me a long time to figure out that the way I was feeling, in terms of some weeks I felt manic, in terms of really excited because something would happen externally. I'd get really pumped. We'd hit 1,000 followers somewhere. I'd get a sale of a new program, or just something really good would happen. We'd get a really great testimonial from a client or whatever it is. And then there were other weeks where I just felt, despite everything going well, I just felt like I wasn't making progress. I felt maybe I got some negative feedback. Maybe that week wasn't going right for me. And I just felt like kind of down. And what you've seen from this week is that our actions, everything up until this point in your life, you've had really peaks and troughs of things going really well. You set good habits, everything starts to go right, you're hitting your goals, but then something happens where maybe you decide to sleep in one day and then you skip your morning routine, and then you're in a reactive state again, and by the end of the day you're really frustrated with yourself because you feel like you've just kicked back into bad habits, and that starts a negative spiral. So this is something that for years I didn't know that cycle was something that I could control. And it's the exact same cycle when it comes to your emotions. And I was convinced that I was like an emotionless robot for years because I like repressed my emotions or whatever. But actually what I was doing is I would bottle them up until they exploded. And I realized that my emotions were coming out in peaks and troughs. And this idea, you may have heard of it through the being called as the entrepreneur roller coaster of emotions, where really you go through you can have your best day and then the next day can be the worst day because of whatever reasons. And I felt that through self-discovery, through reading a lot of books, through trying different habits, through working with multiple coaches, that this was actually a cycle that I would see. And I started to understand certain trigger points in my environment or certain things I'd be triggered by that would start either a positive habit spiral or a negative spiral of emotions. And so what I'm looking to do in this module is to help you, I guess, understand that you are in fact on this roller coaster, and know that it's normal. Know that when you are constantly looking to level up in life and take on the challenge of running your own business and literally impacting thousands of people with your products, that comes at a price. And that, above many other people who may just be going through life not pushing themselves like you are, you're going to find that you are going to be challenged emotionally. And I want you to know that through this module today, it's going to be a practical guide to how you can start to get your emotions under control. Now, this isn't about removing emotions. It's about understanding how you respond to your emotions and kind of show you what I've done to take a more neutral approach. So, first thing I want to get into is identifying where the positive and negative spiral comes into effect. So these feelings of like being on top of the world, and these feelings of being so depressed some days you can't get out of bed, are triggered by certain things that happen. They're triggered by your response to certain cues that happen. For me, I I didn't realize this until I took a second to like look back and make a note of certain things that would actually trigger a cascade of positive or negative emotions. And I took a mental list, so that's something I'd love to see you do through this module is take a piece of paper or a Google Doc and put a positive list of what typically happens when you start to see things work out in your favor and you have those really happy, positive moods. And then also pay attention over the next few days to what are some things that kind of annoy you. It could be as simple as you driving in your car and someone cuts you off and then you get super angry at them and then suddenly you're short-tempered for the rest of the day. So keep a log of what are some things that contribute to that positive spiral versus that negative spiral. Once you start to identify that, you're going to start seeing some pretty crazy patterns with what you do. Another reason this is important to kind of understand this positive and negative cascade is when you get into the marketing modules, you are going to be put to the test because one of the most common places people get stuck and freak out is when they turn on their Facebook ads for the first time. My gosh, you're going to see in the modules of Facebook ads that we have this 4-day no touch rule, which means that when you turn on your ads, you want to let them run for 4 days to give you enough data to know if the results you're getting are statistically significant. So what this means is that you essentially want to have it run for 4 days on our system, and then based on that, you should have enough data. Typically, it's like over 100 clicks or over 2,000 impressions with that, which don't worry, we'll get into that soon. But at that point, that's when you can step back into Ads Manager or Business Manager and analyze the data as, okay, are these good results? Are they bad? How do we adapt? How do we do this? And so even regardless of that 4-day rule and understanding not to judge things until you have enough data, never fails. We get students just like you coming on calls or literally freaking out because they turned on ads and within 4 hours, somebody hasn't clicked on their ad. Or within the first day, they're like, my gosh, I've spent $50 and I haven't got a single lead yet. So these little things that happen are because, and I'm just bringing this out as an example because you're going to feel this as soon as you launch your Instagram account. If you don't get followers right away, it's not the end of the world. It is purely data from your environment where you're essentially looking to take actions in the right step. And as long as you take certain actions that we talk about throughout this program, you are going to get data back. But it's super important to kind of set good expectations with yourself that this is going to take a lot of time and a lot of work to figure out how to do. And that's okay because anything worthwhile in life is. And if it were easy, everybody would be doing it. So the first thing that I like to see when I get triggered emotionally, if I turn on ads and I'm like, it's been 12 hours, I don't have any results yet, I know to remind myself that I don't have enough data to know whether that test failed. And even if that test failed, that is giving me data to tell me, well, this one thing didn't work, so let's pivot and try this other thing. And you're going to find that these little experiments and these activities and these actions that you do every single day are data points to point you in the direction of what eventually is going to work. So when you've identified how you get triggered either in a positive or a negative sense, next thing to note is to kind of check yourself when you start to get when you feel that again and you check, you're like, oh, I check my Facebook ads and I'm concerned, or I just posted this reel on Instagram and no one's liked it yet and it's been an hour. Okay, that doesn't mean your business is failing. It doesn't mean nobody likes you. It doesn't mean whatever. Something inside of you is triggered because it triggers a fear response of you are being triggered in a negative way because truly you are scared of failing. You're truly scared that people don't like your product. And so any little thing kind of sets that off. So kind of notice where that's coming from. Notice the feeling when you start to have that panic that puts you into a negative spiral. And then go to remind yourself, look at some things rationally, analytically, okay? So in the example of Facebook ads, it's like, hey, okay, well, it's been 4 hours. I don't have enough data. So I'm going to actually come back to this in 3 days, 4 days, look at the data, and then decide what to do rationally. Okay? So why do I recommend, and I guess why am I so focused on neutral? So I don't want it to be peaks and troughs with my emotions, because that doesn't serve me. When I am in peak state, peak state is high frequency, high vibes, high energy, and you're typically doing your best work. I want to stay in that zone, so between neutral and that zone. Because that's really when things are amazing in the business. And anything I output, any relationships I have, it's all great. What I'm really trying to avoid is the neutral to negative. And that's why when I pay attention to my cues in the environment or thoughts or things that happen, that I start to have, I posted on Instagram and nobody liked my reel. Oh, come to think of it, I only got 5 likes on the post before that. Oh no, let's check my email open rates. They're actually not that great. And oh no, ads are not going well. Oh no, do I not know how to market? Does my business suck? Do people not like my product? Oh my gosh. And suddenly I go from this, because I've triggered by this little fear of people don't like my Instagram comment or my Instagram reel, I literally dive into this negative spiral of terror where it's what does this mean about my product? Have I just wasted $10,000 buying inventory for this? It's not going to sell. I'm going to lose my house. I'm going to have to live in a trailer. Maybe I can't afford a trailer after this. It's the end of the world. So you see how, just imagine where one negative thought, when you just kind of let it go down that path, you literally sink into a depressed slump. And do you think that you can show up as a business owner or be excited to market your product or to go into Facebook communities and talk to people in your niche or post on Instagram? Do you think you're going to want to do any of that when you are in that cycle of despair? Absolutely not. So that's why emotional mastery and paying attention to triggers and that terror is really important to stop at the beginning of that spiral, because it's literally a self-fulfilling prophecy. So those are things that I've found. There's a book that I'm going to link below this video called Atomic Habits. I'm halfway through the book, but I've read books on habits in the past. I've read dozens of books on self-improvement, getting the results you want in life, etc. And this book completely shifted what I knew about my habits. And just Cole's notes to help you kind of understand and take, one last action thing away from this is that when you define the results you want, so specifically, you're launching this product, you're scaling this brand for a reason. And you must know what you want in the future. You must have a mentor or some idea of where you're going. So if not, we have covered that a little bit in this week. So be sure to get super clear on the vision, because with the vision of what you want to achieve, you then will also take a look at who is the person that you want to be. Not that you want to be confident in this and this. Is there a mentor you look up to? Or if you can define yourself in 10, 20, 30 years, what does that look like? Because with Atomic Habits, what they get you to do right in the beginning of the book is define who you want to be. So let's say, for example, I want to be like Rachel Peterson. Okay, Rachel Peterson is a massive social media manager that has gone viral on multiple platforms. She has hundreds of thousands of followers and has helped social media freelancers build massive agencies. And what I want to emanate from, say, a Rachel Peterson is her ability to show up on social media consistently every single day. She puts out a ton of content. She has raving reviews from students where she gets results. There's a lot of things that Rachel does. I'm a personal friend of Rachel, but there's a lot of things she does that I want to emanate. So when I look at the kind of entrepreneur I want to be, I will say, well, I want to be someone who consistently puts out content, consistently puts out great videos, and consistently puts out great programs, right? And then another thing I could look at is, okay, well, another person I look up to is Ryan Moran. Ryan Moran is somebody who's big in the physical product space, who has a reputation for growing and selling 8-figure businesses. And there's a lot of stuff that I want to borrow from Ryan and his crew and kind of what they're doing. So I really will define the outcome of what I want in 10 years. And then based on that, I make a list of traits that I want. And so you could do, James Clear in Atomic Habits talks about this idea of a habits scorecard, where you essentially define the traits that you want. And then when you define the traits you want, so for me, it could be like show up confidently, best-selling author, award-winning program, multiple 8-figure exits. Like, I look at the tangible kind of outcomes that I want in my life, modeled through people I look up to. And then I will then make a list of, well, what are the key habits that someone like that has? So if we use the example of a runner, if I want to be healthy, and I might say, cool, well, I want to be a really good runner. I'm then going to look at, okay, well, what does a really good runner do? What kind of habits do they have? Well, let's assume they run 3 times a week. Let's assume they eat really well. Let's assume they go to bed at a decent time. And let's assume they run a couple of races a year. Okay, so you would then write down the habits that you think they have. And then you can then do an audit of your life and say, cool, well, if I want to be a runner, or if I want running to be my pastime, what am I currently doing? Oh, okay, well, I'm running every 2 weeks. I'm not tracking my distance, and I haven't done a race in 3 years. So if I'm serious about being a runner, you want to align your actions with that of the person or the habits that you want to have. So when you use a habit scorecard like that to keep an audit on where you want to go, and then you look at where you are right now, if you keep on going on this path, you're never going to be the runner, right? But if you realign your path to this, you're going to be a runner and you start acting like a runner. So that is really what we want. And so my goal as an entrepreneur is to constantly stay in net positive for avoiding the negative spirals, because when I do that, I don't let my emotions derail my progress, which means I'm able to show up and deliver constantly. And then my results look like this instead of, I feel great, I feel like crap next week, I feel great. Okay? So if you want to see growth in yourself, personally, in the business, in wealth, have that. And this comes from understanding your trigger points, defining exactly what habits or who you want to be. If you want to be that runner, take an audit of what habits they have and what habits you have, and realign yourself, okay? And if you're struggling to know what those habits can be for you, or to get clear on what kind of person you want to be, then, come to one of the coaching calls. I'm here to help you get super clear on what that means for you and align your habits to do that. Because in order for you to see consistent results in every area of life, especially business, you need to become very aware of the emotional demon that is controlling your life. And you need to have a way to define what outcomes you really want, and then what habits define those outcomes, and then have a way to consistently track that progress over time, okay? Know that the journey won't look like this in the beginning. Know the journey right now it probably looks like this for you. But when you can flatten out that curve and have less negative spirals, it means that you're going to have more consistency, more better days. You're going to be able to rebound a lot faster from negative emotions or bad stuff that happens. And you're going to start seeing your results go like this. So guys, I hope you enjoyed this module. Emotional mastery is super important. Again, I don't want to make it sound like you need to be a robot. I think we're all emotional beings, and I think emotions can work in your favor, but right now they may be controlling you. Hey guys, I hope you enjoyed this video. This is definitely a different one that we're talking about mindset. Let me know if you want me to do more videos on high performance and being able to consistently show up just like this, and talk a bit more about some of the books and self-discoveries that I've been making. So anyway, apart from that, let me know below. And if you enjoy this content, please do subscribe, as we are releasing regular content, practical tips to really help you become a better version of yourself, launch your product, all that jazz. Anyway, talk to you guys soon.